Welcome to the Bliss Out Queen podcast for the spiritually curious who are committed to revolutionizing their life and the world. Through this podcast, you will learn how to evolve your life and intentionally create from a grounded and soul-aligned place. I call this the Bliss Timeline, a reality where you are living in a flow state, abundant and balanced with your heart, soul, and natural rhythms. What I share will come from my own discoveries while exploring this timeline and learning how to develop it. If this sparks excitement in you, I encourage you to follow the podcast, share with a friend, and go on your own exploration of your bliss timeline. Hello, welcome to another drop of wisdom and insight that has recently really been clicking for me. And some of these concepts I've heard before over the past few years, but everyone is at a different place. So I trust if you're here, there's something that you felt drawn to listen to this for, and something may click for you. Not all of it or all of it, but I'm excited because it's clicking for me and it's pretty awesome. Basically, what I'm going to share about has to do with time. So learning about time and how we have the ability to work within this structure, but also be free of it. And this is like a very early place of me really. Like basically this is one of probably many future evolutions of me sharing about this topic, because as I'm learning, I'll continue to have more to share, but I want to share this preliminary insight basically and activation for you all. So I'll start by sharing lately for myself, especially on these walks that I've been going on where I'm down by the water. I'm in Vermont right now, so like there's a lot of trees on this bike path and I'm by the water, and it feels like this very place where there's like time doesn't exist. It's like this bubble of very airy feeling, like fairy-like, just not really, because the trees are there and there's kind of this separation from, so many other things like society. It just, basically it feels like I'm in this other world when I'm on these walks. And while on these walks, I've been really able to connect with this concept more deeply. And the world we're in is shifting, and if you're here, it's because you're shifting too. And our awareness of how things are not actually structured linearly, we actually are constantly experiencing changes around us that don't necessarily make sense, because we live in a world that is full of limitless possibilities. And this world we're in, you may have heard this concept, or maybe this is new to you. So I'm going to try to talk about it. If some of it doesn't make sense, maybe do some research and dig a little deeper, or just ask that question to your intuition, to your higher self. Be like, hey, I'd love to learn more about this. And then you'll naturally be guided to dive deeper through resources that you have access to on your own. So basically, the idea that we're in a matrix and that we have influence over the way our world presents itself. Like it's all a reflection of what we are wanting to observe, like what we decide to observe and see gets reflected back to us. And some of those things are consciously, but a lot of times the subconscious is having a huge part to play in what we are seeing reflected back. The way life is structured, the way maybe we may think that this is the only way it happens, X, Y, and Z happens. This is the only way to earn money. This is the only way that I would have to experience motherhood, or this is the only way that I would get or make a friend, or this is the only way I'd be happy. Like very much we're moving from this, in many ways, like all the time, we have the opportunity to move from this limited mindset, from this very boxed in mindset to this very open, free, limitless mindset. And another term people call that is going from the 3D to the 5D. So or linear, going from the linear to the non-linear. So basically, it's shifting our perspective and our awareness that truly, like, we have an influence in what we experience. And the concept of time helps a lot, because I pulled out this card the other day, from this oracle deck, and it said TikTok. So it was a card guiding me about time. And it was really basically saying there is no such thing as like running out of time or having being in a rush. If you think about it, and might bounce all over the place, so bear with me, because these thoughts are still like formulating, but I'm sure I just, need to get it out there. So if you think about it, take a minute, for example, 60 seconds. For sometimes in 60 seconds, it can feel like an eternity, or it can feel like 1 second. And it's interesting how even though time has passed, it's really not necessarily determining what the experience is like. So we can actually almost like pause time and experience what we need to experience within that paused time, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. This is all new, so we'll see if I even post this, because it's probably not. Okay. So when we're in this non-linear time consciousness, this place where our awareness is accepting the fact that literally there are multiple realities we can experience at any moment, simply by our choice. The idea that time is a construct. Like, I've heard that term for a few years now, but it only really has clicked into me now that it truly is a construct. And yes, at the end of the day, there is like years, and eventually you do pass away. Like, there is this idea of time within, like, the fact that we have a certain set of time that we live on Earth. But other than that, there's this timelessness to our experience. And the only time that it feels like it's restrictive is when we let it be restrictive. When we come to this like hardness of thought, being that we don't have enough time for something. But then we're creating that experience. We literally create anything from our thoughts and our actions and our perspectives and beliefs and our narratives. So what this also bleeds into is when we are on, like, for example, a healing journey, or we are maybe working towards a certain goal of manifesting something on our heart, or maybe we're in a place, like right now I'm in like where my external reality is. Like, I'm really learning how to have gratitude and just simply be here and accept that there is a divine timing to when it will shift. And that divine timing is not necessarily out of my control. Like, actually, I have all the capacity for it to change any moment, for my external reality to shift. But my humanness has its own pace and rhythm. So everyone has their own pace and rhythm to get to the place where they're finally, like, really truly complete with whatever cycle they are in, and then that shift will happen. Like that reflection will come finally, like reveal and unfold, within seconds, within a blink of an eye. It can change immediately, and it's all energy. So when your internal world is reflecting the energy of one reality, that's what you're going to experience. And it really is about noticing and observing and being in this really reflective place so that you can see clearly what is the story or the beliefs or what is it that I am choosing that reflects why I am still in this or moving through this, experience. And it's a lot to do with letting go and also being okay with that maybe you're meant to be in this place at this time because you'll never be here again. Like, why rush to the next thing? For example, I've been living with my parents and my sister for the past year, and that's been challenging for myself in many ways, but also I've learned a lot. And also, even though there are challenges being here and having a dynamic so close with living with parents and a sister, there's a lot of reflections back to me of myself and triggers. There's a lot that I can be grateful for because who knows if my next, what I desire to see reflected back, who knows when I'll be living back with my family again. And, coming back to a place of gratitude for the gifts that are here now, the opportunities that are presenting themselves to me. Like, I've been able to really heal and evolve a lot internally just by being here. And even though that externally it's not showing that to me, I know there's an internal and a vibrational change I've gone through. And so even though it may feel like we're on a rush to get to that next thing because that's where we want to be and that's what we know we want, that's actually a scarcity mindset. And the abundance mindset is that there is no rush. Like, there is no timeline necessarily that you have to get things done. You're really here to experience the world. You're here to experience contrast. You're here to experience emotion. You're here to clear and heal and process traumas or karmic debts or anything tied with your soul that has a contract, or to things tied with your own ancestry or family lineage that maybe you're here to break and clear yourself, and by doing so others, of cycles that are so limiting, because we're moving to a place of harmony and peace, and it's happening. And so while there's this chaos happening in the external world, we can experience peace and harmony every single day within our choices and our focus. And it's an internal game. The external world will reflect that in its own timing. There's a lot of layers to it, though, for us to process and clear and look at before that is truly happening. But every step of the way, every new layer that you realize there's this new thing that you didn't realize was within your subconscious, but it was there, and now you're taking the time to look at, you can still be coming back to a place of harmony and peace, even while feeling a temporary, almost like you don't have to ever feel out of balance, basically, even while you are healing things, even while you're facing and experiencing and moving through emotion. Just let it be something that happens very naturally. Just let it come up and release just as easily as that. And at the same time, every time that maybe something triggers you, or you're going through a really heavy, deep sadness, or maybe depression, or place of hopelessness, it will pass. And I guess this message is coming through more than just talking about time. I'll have to figure out how to talk about it a little bit more clearly in the future, but there's a lot we can learn within just a few moments. And that is so much more important than an external gain. Because no matter what we have externally, what we are experiencing externally, none of it matters unless our internal world is, is in check, kind of. Like, unless our internal experience, unless we're really in tune with it, the external stuff doesn't matter. Like, no matter how much, beauty might be around you, if you woke up and you're just feeling really heavy, like there's something heavy in your emotional field, no amount of beauty or light or anything outside of you is going to help until you internally release that. And then you can feel lightness and joy no matter where you are and whatever the external circumstances are. It's really truly about the internal. And there's a constant ebb and flow of these highs and lows, or what someone has taught me is like the ping pong effect, or like the contrast. So maybe one day or one moment you have this really expansive experience. You feel so high, you're in your bliss, you're like in your element, you're so connected, feeling really like truly present and like the essence of love, and so connected with the spiritual realm in a way that you see, if you're into angel numbers, you see them everywhere, everything feels right, but there's always going to be a contraction, because it needs to integrate into your body, and it needs to integrate into the other aspects of yourself, which is more physical and in our body. And so during that contraction, it can feel a little bit heavier. Maybe you go back to some patterns that don't foster a healthy body, mind, spirit. But over time, through your choices, the contraction is gonna feel more like breathing. Just simply like, exhale, inhale, knowing it will pass. You have tools, you have maybe the life that you've created to have spaciousness to move through that contraction. And there's also so much wisdom and treasure that is within that contraction. The contraction can also be seen like a shadow, the light and shadow. Like there's these two aspects of being on earth and this world. They can be experienced, like there's no such thing as one is good or bad. They each have lessons and value for us in different ways. So the contraction is going to happen, but even just the awareness that it's going to happen and it's going to pass can be really helpful. And during those moments where we are feeling like we are in a contraction, instead of pushing yourself to maybe do something that your brain thinks you need to do in order to blah, 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 come back to this idea that we are living in this plane of life where time is a construct. So there is time for you to be with yourself in that. There is no loss. There's only a gain if you are to really give yourself that space. And I think a lot of times where we get, at least myself, where I get that pressure of like, okay, I need to, be productive or move this forward in an action-oriented way, which is important, but there's a time for that. There's a divine timing for that, because giving yourself the space to journal out something that is going to help you release an energy that feels heavy in your body during that contraction period is so important. And it's only going to cause misery to hold on to that feeling and try to like be restless through it and try to like scroll it away, or like, oh my God, there's this great song that says something like this, but I forgot the name of it anyways. So yes, so like the other thing to think about is, if you're feeling today's a day where I'm following my heart. Every day this is an opportunity to really listen to your heart, listen to your intuition. What is it guiding you to do today? What is it guiding you to focus on? And sometimes it truly is about just enjoying the day, enjoying maybe going to the beach or making yourself a nice meal, like really slowing down and just enjoying life. And if there feels like there's this pressure to do something that will result in what you think will create for yourself, for example, money in your life, it's not necessarily the only. It's not that's a narrative. Like that's what you've been told. But you truly can create anything at any moment. So maybe you're covered financially, like things are taken care of. The best belief to really hone in on, I think that has helped me through like my past few years where I really just kind of let go and I'm still learning to let go, but basically I invested a lot of my resources into learning about spirituality within a new perspective and learning about myself and healing and all these things. And when I was investing all of this money and resources into it, the thing that helped me the most, when I had like $5 in my bank account, $3 in my bank account, and I was in Costa Rica in the middle of the jungle, so like what's next, was to come back to this, and this helps for anything, is come back to this affirmation that I'm always taken care of. All my needs are met. And I trust in the magic in the universe that they are always coming to meet me exactly when I need it. And it helps you move from this mindset of focusing on this survival, so you can focus on this other stuff, the more important stuff, like sitting with yourself in this contraction to release this, energy that you are ready to release. Like that's so important. All right, let's see, where are we at with timing? 22 minutes. So I'm gonna leave that there. This is part 1, and I will share more parts as I learn how to verbalize my understanding of time in a more cohesive way. But I'm sure that there is something in this share I gave that really sparked something for you, or maybe will eventually sink in and create a ripple effect in your own consciousness. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm excited to chat with you more. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that was a lovely episode for you, and you gained some sort of wisdom or aha moment or activation for your own journey and life. And if you'd like to connect further, you can go to my website, Erikajulia.com. It's ErikaJulia. And there you'll find also a blog where I share a lot of writings on similar topics. And also, if you feel really inspired by this episode, please leave a review and share it with a friend. And those two things would really help this podcast get to more people and more hearts and more ears. more minds, more bodies. So that would be really helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here.